Welcome back to the Single Player Report podcast. I am your host, Jarvey Rocks, and today we got a lot of things to talk about. We got some video game news, we got some movie reviews, and we even got a video game review. Oh my gosh! We got a good amount of stuff to talk about, and I am excited. The movie review will be at the end, and the video game review will be at the very end as well. So I got a lot of stuff to talk about, and the movie review is a review of Spiderman Brand New Day. So if you do want to watch it, it'll be at the end. And you want to know what the video game review is, Donkey Kong Bananza for Nintendo Switch 2. So if you want to wait until the end for those, then that would be very appreciated. And let's get into the video game news at first. So let's talk about this stuff. Let's talk about it. Let's go. Okay. So the first news story that I want to bring up is an old one. I will admit this is a very old one, but it's about GTA 6. Everyone knows that GTA 6 is releasing digital only. Very much releasing digital only. Sucks, but it is. And there's been reports and rumors around this time, around January 20th, 27th stuff. This is around the time of the announcement that GTA 6 will be digital only. There were reports that Rockstar was going to release a real physical version, because the actual physical edition is just a code in a box. There is no disc, but they were eventually going to release an actual disc version. And even I think I even mentioned this in the episode where I talk about GTA 6, where it turns out all of those were incorrect. People were just saying that they heard stuff, but there are people that actually talked to Rockstar, and they literally said, yeah, we have no plans to actually do a disc version, not even months later after launch. And for some reason, there were a bunch of news stories saying, oh yeah, we are going to get a physical edition, a real physical edition after launch. But it turns out that was never true to begin with, and I definitely wanted to at least update it and say that there is no plans at all for a real physical disc edition. The only physical we're gonna get is a box with a code. So if you do plan to get GTA 6, do not even bother buying the physical edition, because it's just gonna be a code. And if you're in Japan, 100% don't bother buying the physical edition, because apparently if you buy the physical edition in Japan, the code can expire up to after 170 days, and there's a chance that if you walk into the store and bought a physical edition in Japan after those 170 days, those could be expired, because people don't really check, stores don't really check that often, they don't really restock, so there's a chance that you could buy an expired version. Kind of unlikely, but you could. The reason why in Japan they put an expiration date that is like 170 days, which is like, I think 3-4 months, is because of a federal thing. It's there to protect the consumers, or at least that's what they say. They won't affect America or select other countries. It seems like Japan is mostly the one affected by that 107-day expiration. Other countries, there's still an expiration on the code. It's just much longer, probably like a year or two. So, do not worry. If you're not in Japan, you're perfectly fine. But if you are in Japan, just buy the digital version. Even if you're not in Japan, why are you buying the physical edition? There's nothing in the physical edition. Just buy the digital version. Like, there's no point anymore. There's no point in buying the physical edition of GTA 6, and it's not going to show Rockstar or anything. I know a lot of people will be like, well, I'm going to buy the physical edition just to show that we want a physical edition. All you're doing is showing them that you're going to buy a code. You are okay with buying a code in a box. So I don't think, just don't buy the digital or the physical. I mean, don't just buy the physical, buy the digital. Just at this point, buy the digital. Uh, so anyways, let's move on to the next story, which is this says the vast majority of Capcom's 2026 game sales have been digital, which every company says that. Every company says, because that's the data they're going to get 100%. I'm not fully convinced. I still do believe people buy used copies of games. A lot more people are buying used copies than brand new copies. So I still believe that. I still believe if we could actually collect the data of how many people buy digital copies and stuff, I think we could very much we very much could see like what it actually looks like, but I'm not sure. Anyways, that's not the story. That's not the main focus I want to talk about, because yeah, at this point, if you're looking at brand new titles, yes, the sales are going to look great. If there was a way to compare used sales, I'm still fully convinced people probably buy more used than they buy brand new. Just me. Anyways, here's the part that I wanted to talk about. Capcom, for its part, hasn't made any plans to stop production of physical game discs. In fact, the company stated in a shareholder Q&A report that it will continue to make physical discs as a significant number of players still demand them. So even though the sales the sales for digital are much bigger than the sales in physical, there's still a good amount of people buying physical that Capcom sees it as a good investment to continue making physical copies. Maybe not for the PlayStation 6, but at least for the Xbox console and the Nintendo Switch, because Capcom very much is still 100% all on board to support the Switch 2. I have a copy of Pragmata, and their next game, Onimusha, is coming out for the Switch 2, and Resident Evil Veronica is coming out for the Switch 2, and I also think the next Mega Man game is coming out for the Switch 2. So, no matter what, Capcom is going to support physical, even if both companies decide to completely remove physical, because Nintendo is very much still in the physical game. They're still going to release physical copies for their games, and I think they have said they have no plans to stop making physical copies of anything. So speaking of Capcom, speaking of Resident Evil, after 15 years, Resident Evil 5 has finally been dethroned as the series' best-selling game. Oh my gosh, yes. Originally, Resident Evil 5's final total was around 19.1 million. This has even included the original PS3, Xbox 360 sales, and the remastered PS4, Xbox One, and Switch sales, and of course the PC sales as well. This is all combining all those sales, and it seems like for a while Resident Evil 5 was the highest selling game in this series, again, as the series' best selling game. But it seems like now Resident Evil 2 Remake has shifted, 19.75 million copies, and it was enough to slip past Resident Evil 5. So Resident Evil 5 has been dethroned by Resident Evil 2 Remake, but that is not all. It seems like Resident Evil 4 is close to beating it. I think they state it here. Let me try to find it. But they stated that Resident Evil 4 is very close behind Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I believe Resident Evil 5. Now I'm trying to find it in this text. I swear I read it. Speaking of Resident Evil 4 and Requiem, you might wonder where their sales are in all of this. Well, they are still selling brilliantly too, and may yet both eclipse Resident Evil 2 to become the franchise's top sellers. Given enough time, Resident Evil Requiem has now sold 8 million copies, so that is pretty impressive. Nowhere around 19, but Resident Evil 4 Remake is getting closer because it is now sold 16 million copies. So if that keeps on going, it could very much sneak past Resident Evil 2 Remake, but we will have to see. This is very good news because Resident Evil 2 Remake, when it released, Capcom wasn't really convinced it was going to sell at all, but I do think they were fine with it. I don't think they really were expecting big number sales, but so far they have not really been like acting like their sales that really affected them, even when it did sell low when it released, in the sense of a big budgeted action game would sell. Because again, people don't realize horror is still a niche genre. It's now become as more popular than it's ever been before. I will admit, still very niche. It's still very niche, and I know a lot of people don't think that's true, but it is. More people will tell you they don't like watching horror than people who say they love watching horror. That is just the truth. But more and more people are starting to like horror a lot more, and it is definitely 100% bigger than it's ever been in the history of media. And I'm excited. I love horror. I love horror games, and I'm 100% happy that Resident Evil has dethroned Resident Evil 5, even though I love Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 is a fun game to me. Resident Evil 2 Remake, which is a lot more survival horror. I love seeing survival horror when Resident Evil 5 is definitely more action, but I do defend it being more action horror than I do say Resident Evil 6 is. Resident Evil 6 is 100% action to me than it is action horror. And there is horror elements in it, but it's very, very small. While Resident Evil 5 does actually focus a little bit more on horror, but it's definitely lesser than it is in Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 is 100% action horror to me. Dead Space is 1000% action horror, and it focuses more on the horror than it really does the action in Dead Space. But no matter what, I love Resident Evil, and I will 100% happy with them, with success no matter what. Square Enix dev Yoshi P says Final Fantasy 6, 8, and 9 remakes would probably have to be released in 4 or even 5 installments. This was during the Final Fantasy 14 fan festival in Berlin. It was on Sunday of this date, which is July 28th, was when this was posted. Today is August 2nd. And they talked about how people have been asking for Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 8, and Final Fantasy 9, and people asked if they would get the remake treatment. And Yoshi P said, I understand fans' feelings, but please think about it. He then went on to explain why these remakes would be such a huge effort to develop and release. Final Fantasy 6 is an incredibly huge game, and the same goes for other titles like Final Fantasy 8 and 9. Since Final Fantasy 7 Remake, I understand why people ask for these remakes, but if we did remake these other games, we would probably have to release them in 4 or even 5 installments. I don't fully believe that is true. Especially with Final Fantasy 6 Remake, no one wants a full 3D remake of Final Fantasy 6. If people want a Final Fantasy 6 remake, they want it in the 2D HD style. Final Fantasy 6 is a pixel art 2D game released on the Super Nintendo. And if people want a remake of that, they want it in the HD 2D style. They do not want a full 3D remake. And even if they did get a full 3D remake, why are you making so much changes to it that it has to be 3 or 4 or even 5 installments? I don't fully believe that is true. But let's more look at the examples of Final Fantasy 8 and 9, which are 3D games. So why would you want those games Are you trying to do Final Fantasy VII remake style? Because one, if you ask any modern day Final Fantasy fan, they will tell you they want turn-based more than they want real-time action. And two, Final Fantasy VII Remake is not actually a remake. Yes, it's called Remake, and yes, I will defend why it's called Remake. It does remake certain scenes of the original game, but it's also called a remake because it's remaking the timeline. Spoilers for Final Fantasy VII Remake. It is revealed to be a meta sequel to Final Fantasy VII, the original PS1 game. It is revealed to be some kind of multiversal sequel in a way, and Sephiroth was trying to break the timeline so he could finally make his destiny true, his idea of a world true, and he finally was able to break the sacred timeline. If you know anything about, like, I don't know, Marvel, I'm going to use Marvel as an example. Marvel has the TVA, which helped protect the sacred timeline. Final Fantasy VII, the original game, the original PS1 game, is, in that term, the sacred timeline. Everything has to go to plan. Everything cannot change. It has to be one-to-one to the original. That's why in the remake, there were these ghosts. If you actually played the original game, those spiritual ghost things do not appear in Final Fantasy VII, the original PS1 game. At all. And those ghosts in the remake help keep the timeline on the path. The correct path. For example, spoilers for Final Fantasy VII Remake, Barrett dies. They're finally on the area where they're going to talk to the boss of the towers and stuff, the power plants. I can't remember what the evil organization is, but the entire time they've been trying to stop the evil organization. And Barrett's finally up on the tower where the boss is going to be the president, and he gets killed. He gets shot. And the ghosts are there to bring him back to life because he is not supposed to die in that moment in time. He is supposed to be alive. He is very much supposed to be alive for the rest of the story. And if you want another example, Cloud decides to leave. What do they call it? Their group, their terrorist organization, their little terrorist group. That's what, because they're seen as bioterrorists, eco terrorists or whatever. Avalanche. They're called Avalanche. Cloud leaves Avalanche. He no longer does the job, and he decides to do his own thing. Well, the ghosts do not like that, and so they find a way to bring him back together to where he continues the job, because that is what the story wants. And at the end, when Sephiroth completely stops them, kills the ghosts, and changes the timeline, they now no longer are sticking to the script. They can do whatever they want because now they have free will. They can do whatever they want, and that in turn creates a multiverse. It creates two little different dimensions, two little different worlds. Now, I have not played Rebirth. I will 100% say I have not played Rebirth. And I do want to play Rebirth. I very much want to play Rebirth because I love Final Fantasy VII Remake. I love the original game. And I do want to play the new game. And I will admit, I do prefer real-time action over turn-based. I've always did. But I fully agree with a lot of Final Fantasy fans. I do believe we should eventually get a new turn-based game. And if you are going to remake Final Fantasy 8 and 9, for God's sakes, make them turn-based. Why? If you want to make mainline games still like real-time action, 100% fine with that. I don't really care. But stop remaking the original games as real-time actions. I will give Final Fantasy VII a pass because it's not really a remake, as the points I can explain, and I have even more points to explain, but I would be spoiling possibly future titles because they have not touched on any of the other elements that are big spoilers from the later acts of the original game. As far as I know. Again, I have not played Rebirth. Or I will say I have not played Rebirth. Definitely want to play Rebirth. I'm excited for Rebirth. Rebirth looks awesome. Rebirth looks cool. Definitely excited to play that. But if you're going to remake Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8 and 9, for God's sakes, make them like turn-based games, make them full 3D. And Final Fantasy 9, keep the cartoony style. Don't fucking make it super realistic. I don't get this whole we have to release in 4 or 5 installments. I can understand 2 installments. Like, I'll give you 2 installments. Especially like Final Fantasy 8 and 9. Especially 9. I feel like you could do 2 installments. Final Fantasy 6 could be done entirely in 1 installment. You do not need to release it in 4 or 5 installments. And you do not need to make it a full 3D game. For God's sakes, keep it HD 2D. Please do not make it 3D. Make it an HD 2D game. We want an HD 2D remake. We do not want a fucking full 3D remake of Final Fantasy 6. There might be some people who want it, but a lot of the people, including me, do not want that. They want an HD. If you're going to remake the pixel games, keep it HD 2D. Like, keep it pixel art, but in that HD 2D style. We like that. We want that. Final Fantasy 8 and 9, maybe I could give you, like, I can probably give you two installments at least, but I feel like you still could do them 8 and 9 if you just make them 1-to-1. Like, if you make the story 1-to-1 and don't make any real changes outside of the camera placement and the updated gameplay of turn-based. Like let's say they made a remake of Final Fantasy 8 and it played exactly like in the segments where you're walking around the map. It played exactly like Clair Obscura. But when it's turn-based, it plays more like classic Final Fantasy VIII or something. Just with HD graphics. And the story is 1-to-1, so even though it's a new third-person camera, you're following them around, it's no longer a fixed camera, like the original Final Fantasy VIII. I still believe if you just follow the script 1-to-1, you still could release it in 1 installment and not 4 or 5, and I don't truly believe that. Unless you're making really big changes that are similar to Final Fantasy VII Remake, where you're doing the multiverse sequel storyline. Please don't. Like it's okay with Final Fantasy VII Remake doing that, but please do not make Final Fantasy 8 and 9 do that. Please don't. Like, give us an actual remake. But I'm excited to eventually play Rebirth, and I'm excited for Revelation. I should definitely play Rebirth before Revelation releases. But yeah, I don't agree with you, Yoshi P. I'm sorry, man, but I don't agree with you. I don't think you need to make 4 and 5 installments, especially for 6. Please don't do a full 3D remake of 6. And even if you did have to do 4 or 5 installments, you've done this before. Almost a lot of Final Fantasy games have been released in fucking 4 in like 2 or 3 installments. So what's really stopping you? I don't understand that. Critics of Sony's decision to kill physical games call on gamers to boycott PlayStation for a week next month, but will anyone listen? This was talked about on July 27th. So let's get into it. So this is coming from a Twitter account that goes by Does It Play, and they posted this on Twitter. For several years now, Sony Interactive Entertainment has continued to grow further apart from its fan base, whether it's closing beloved studios like Bluepoint, pursuing a misguided live service strategy, canceling fan events, leaving PlayStation VR to die, or being completely out of touch with the franchises players want to see return. PlayStation has never felt more disconnected from its community. Ending physical discs in 2028 feels like the last straw. We understand there's only so much SIE can control, but the decisions that are within its control, the company continues to mismanage this strong position it inherited from the PS4 era. There are so many issues with PlayStation right now. That being that bringing back physical games will only be meeting players halfway. There's still much more SIE can do. We miss Digital Metal, SOCOM, Sly Cooper, and Resistance. We miss PlayStation Experience. We miss Japan Studio. And with that, we are calling on PlayStation players to participate in an economic gameplay blackout from Sunday, August 23rd at 7 p.m., 7 o'clock p.m. local time through Sunday, August 30th at 7 p.m. local time. Players can participate by turning off their consoles or logging out for 7 days. We feel that this period gives publishers and developers minimum impact while still giving players a voice. Hopefully that does not affect anything in my video. I can't control the ads, YouTube. I apologize for there being a guy's crotch on the screen. Anyways. Yeah, I don't think this will work. One, it's only a week long. Two, what's this really gonna do? PlayStation, this is how I see this. It's gonna be like a pinch to PlayStation, like someone just pinching them like, ow, that hurts. Okay, so anyways, I don't think this will actually affect PlayStation in any way. For one, it is only a week, and after this week is over, most likely players would just continue playing their PlayStation, and it wouldn't have really affected them, and PlayStation definitely would not notice it. And yeah, PlayStation's not going to notice it. This is not going to hurt PlayStation. Most likely this will hurt more smaller developers, smaller like developers who focus on online gameplay stuff. This will most likely hurt them, but will it hurt bigger developers like, I don't know, PlayStation? No. You know what will hurt PlayStation? If this was a month long. Make this a month long. Why are you doing this just for fucking a week? Make this a month long. Like, come on. Come on. I don't understand this. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work because it's such a small time frame. Make this a month long. Fuck, make this a year long. You know what's really going to hurt PlayStation? If you don't play your PlayStation for a fucking year. What are you doing? I don't think this is going to affect anything. This is such small potatoes. You should make something bigger. You should do something bigger. Don't just be like, well, we're just going to do this, and it's probably going to upset them. No, it's not. It's not going to upset them. They're not going to care. This isn't going to do shit. I'm sorry. It's just not. If you don't want to play PlayStation, and you really want to affect them, affect their bottom line, stop buying PlayStation for a year. Stop supporting PlayStation for a year. Stop playing on your PlayStation for a year. Just stop it, and then it will affect them. Doing it for a week will do nothing. They won't even notice it. I 100% bet you they will not notice it. This is not going to do anything. I'm not saying you shouldn't protest. Protest. But protest bigger. Protest bigger. Do not do something that's such small fry. Actually do something bigger. And I agree, it sucks that PlayStation did nothing with PSVR 2. It sucks that they have completely stopped releasing their stuff. It sucks that PlayStation Experience is no longer a thing. It sucks that Japan Studio's gone. It sucks that Bluepoint is gone. It sucks. I fully agree. And I fully hate the decision of them destroying, just stop making physical discs. But this is not a way to really affect them because they just will not notice that. It's just a week. It's just a week. It's not that big. And honestly, and this is more in the scale of if everyone in the world stopped playing their PlayStation system for a week. I'm more saying this as if everyone in the world decided to do that, I still don't think it would affect anyone. But in realistically, only a good few amount of people will do this. I truly believe only like 1,000 amount of probably I would say if I had to give a number, 1,000% of its I was gonna say 1,000 players would probably do this, but I'd say more like 20% of players out of like 100 would do this, or maybe even 10%. It won't really affect PlayStation, and they can very much just recoup the cost if it did affect them, because it's just a week long. If you really want this to affect PlayStation, like, make it bigger, make it bigger, make it bigger. Anyways, Silent Hill Townfall. PlayStation blog posted a Silent Hill Townfall report. Silent Hill Townfall is owned by Konami, and this looks cool. This looks like a fun game. It's very much like I'm seeing the gameplay footage they share. It's very much Aliens Isolation, and we will get into that. But look at this door. I'm showing on the screen a clip of a door. It looks like an apartment door because it has the numbers 204 on the door, and it looks like it's on some kind of bridge leading to it, like we're walking through this small little bridge. But look at this door itself. There's a light above it. It's very much reminiscent, trying to look exactly like the PT door, if you remember the door from PT, with the light above it. It's not exactly one-to-one with that door, but it's very much, you could very much tell that PT for this door design was an inspiration. And it's first person. I do think PT was in some form an inspiration for this game in some form, but this game is very much going to be very similar to Alien Isolation. And if you don't know, some of the developers who were working on this game used to work with Creative Assembly when they developed Alien Isolation, and I believe that the game director of this game worked 100%. I think he was also like the director of Alien Isolation, I believe, or I'm probably wrong. He at least worked on it in some form. And the biggest example that this is Alien Isolation is the CRTV, the portable TV you have, which is like a CRTV or something, I believe. Yeah, CRTV. On the TV, there's a little screen, and you can see if there is a monster on the other side of a wall. Very similar to the tracker to an Alien Isolation. It's also very similar. It has mini games you can do, and even watch little videos to help you with puzzles and stuff. So it's very much trying to be Alien Isolation's little tracker. But that's not all. This game will mostly use spots to hide, and you can hide in like little closet sheds, half-open doors. You can duck in them, and you could just hide there for a little bit. So again, another thing from Alien Isolation. You can also throw items to distract monsters to go in one direction. Again, similar to things like, maybe like not really like Alien Isolation, but stuff that are similar to stealth horror game. There is combat. There is combat in this game, but combat, it said also had a new weapon, a revolver. It might be more of a reliability than a real defense, though. The gun is powerful, but incredibly loud, and while it was good for quickly killing enemies, it also made the situation worse by drawing more. So yes, there would be a lot of enemies there, and you can kill them. The best option would either be hiding or probably using a melee weapon. But I assume they probably thought about that. No, they don't even really mention the melee weapon in here. Probably because maybe the player didn't have one. But there's a possibility that the melee weapon probably could just break. But they don't mention that here at all. I don't really see anything talking about the melee weapon. But there is combat. And there is like guns, there's a revolver and stuff. But it is very focused on stealth. Stealth is the main option. There's a train. My window's open. I do apologize. Also, the last thing I would like to add, they're showing video of how the controller's motion sense. There's a motion like sense in here. So when you move the controller around, you can very much move the CRTV, and it could even help try to align like maybe a video so you can see it in a puzzle or something. So that's very interesting. It's very cool. I'm very excited for this game. I love Silent Hill, and a first-person Silent Hill that's very much taking inspiration from Alien Isolation is amazing. And you know what's very funny? Before they announced what this game was, we knew about what this game was. We knew about the announcement of this game since the very first Silent Hill transmission. They announced it alongside Silent Hill 2 remake, Silent Hill F, Silent Hill Ascension, and Return to Silent Hill the movie. They announced all these projects in once, and they didn't really show any gameplay for each project besides Silent Hill Ascension, since that game was releasing the same year that the next year that showcase released, I believed. And they never showed any gameplay, and since it was being developed by a studio called No Code at the time, they are now called Screenburn. but they originally made called No Code, and they made games like Stories Untold. Stories Untold is a text-based adventure game, and I wasn't sure how the game was going to be, but I was very certain the game was going to be played entirely just in the CRT TV in a way, and it was going to be very much just like you're in a room watching the CRTV, very similar to like something like Stories Untold, and stuff happens to you in your surroundings. It turns out it was a first-person game, but literally a day before they showed gameplay, like a good week before they showed gameplay, they showed actual gameplay. I was thinking to myself, you know, it'd be cool if there was a Silent Hill game that played exactly like Alien Isolation. That played exactly like Alien Isolation. And then they officially showed gameplay of Silent Hill Townfall, and I went, holy shit, this is exactly like Alien Isolation. And so far, I'm being confirmed. It's being confirmed more and more every time we see new footage that yes, this game takes heavy inspiration from Alien Isolation. The next thing I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to actually move these over here. The next thing I'm going to talk about is Nightmare Operator. It's a trailer that I literally just, they uploaded 13 hours ago. I literally just saw this. And it is a PS1 third-person horror games, PS1 inspired. The art style is very PS1 anime style, and it looks really good. It's very third-person survival horror. It might be more like, I don't know, Dead Space probably. And I don't know. I don't know anything about this. This must be like the announcement trailer or something. I don't know. It looks cool. It looks like a cool little like action horror game. I think there's melee combat. That's cool, but it's very much focusing on the third person shooting. And I don't know. I see very like maybe like some Dead Space inspiration a little bit, or Evil Within. I'm not really certain, but I'm excited for this. I never heard about this. And it looks really cool. Whoa, what is it? Does it not say release date? I'm not really sure. Yeah, it says action horror. So this is very much action horror. And let's see. Yeah, no, it just says wish list. I'm excited for this. This looks cool. This looks cool. I'll definitely be playing this. I love the look of it. It's very like PS1 in style. And I like it. It doesn't look just like, it looks like low poly. It doesn't look exactly like PS1 because there's too much detail and everything. Like there's a lot of detail, even though it's low poly and not it's not like, it's still like small amount of detail compared to like a fully like newer realistic graphic game. But there's a lot of detail that you would never see on a PS1 game because the PS1 could not handle this much detail. So I'd probably say this probably looks powerful as like a PS2 game, so probably somewhere in that line. But I love the look of it. Looks really good, and I'm excited for this. Whenever it is, I'll play it. Third person action, hell yeah. But before we get into the reviews and the game stuff, I wanted to talk about this is just something that's been on my mind. If you've played the original Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake's Nightmare, the PS2 version, because this sequence is only in the PS2 version, after Snake gets tortured, you get on a call with I can't remember her name, but you get on a call with her, and you save. I think you save the game. You save the game. No, you have to wait until she says like, "Oh, by the way, just let me know after listening to the vampire story right here." So you got to listen to this vampire story. She says, "Okay, just let me know if you start having nightmares about Dracula." So after this call with her, after you've been tortured and stuff, and you're in the cell, and she talks about having nightmares about Dracula. There's an ad. I don't care. There's some kind of YouTube channel. That's fine. But anyways, you save the game, you leave the game, and then when you load that save, you will be kind of randomly teleported into this random game, and the game is Sky Savage. This is what the mini game is called, is Sky Savage. Now, what is this? No one really fully knows. Hideo Kojima has never confirmed it, but people theorized that this was a game that was in development with Konami. It was in development with Konami. It was not a game made by Hideo Kojima. It was just in development by Konami. And Hideo Kojima liked it so much, liked the pitch, because this was just a concept. This was just a concept video. There was no actual. There was no plans to make this a full game. I don't believe. I think this was just like a pitch concept, and it was going to be like an action game, and it looked interesting, looked fun. It was going to be like a modern day game where you fought like mutated police. It looked like you can see that the monsters have the word police on their back, and we are in a warehouse. This is very important because the remake includes the sections, but it's very changed. Very much, you can see this is more modern day. It's in black and white. It's modern day, black and white, at least modern day from that time period. And it seems like the main character seems to be from a mental hospital because he looks like he's wearing like mental hospital robes and stuff, and he's got chains on him, and it looked very interesting. Now, again, this was only on the PS2 version, and it was specifically on the PS. It was like the PS. There was like two PS2 versions of the game, and this is the original PS2 release. The original PS2 release, and this minigame was in here, and again, no one's ever fully confirmed why it's in here. Many people theorize it's because Hideo Kojima really liked what it looked like, and he just wanted it in the game. And so he sneakily put it in. He originally had an idea for the dream sequence to be Galaga, or something like that, an actual classic Konami game. But then he saw this, and he was like, holy shit, that looks cool. I'm going to throw that in my game since it's a canceled project, and it's never going to see the light of day. It's never going to be released. So why am I talking about this? Because as Metal Gear Solid, this has never been in any other versions of Metal Gear Solid 3. Every other release, from like the remastered version and all that, never include the Nightmare, the minigame Nightmare. It's not even in the newer collection, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection. It's not even in that one because they used HD remasters that was made by Bluepoint, and they never included, those remasters never included Snake's Nightmare. So Metal Gear Solid Delta got remade, and it's the exact same thing. The character says, tells you a story about Dracula, the vampire story, and she says, you better not have any nightmares about Dracula. And so then you save the game, and then you load the save file, and a new mini game appears, and it's a fully remade version of Guy Savage's game, except multiple things is different. It seems now you are some kind of monster hunter just by looking at the robes now, and it takes place in more of like a gothic, like Victorian era in a way. It looks more like it is an older game, more on the gothic Victorian era than it is in modern day, just the modern day. It seems more like you are a monster hunter, and you are no longer fighting monsters that are in police uniforms or outfits. You're just fighting monsters that are appearing in the grave, and this was made by Platinum Games. The remake of Metal Gear Solid Delta was not made by Platinum Games, just this minigame. They hired Platinum Games to make a minigame remake of Guy Savage, and it's a completely full-on new game that has nothing to do with even the original Guy Savage, honestly, since it doesn't really use the same warehouse layout, and honestly the monsters look very different, and they even added new monsters, which is this vampire. It looks like they added this new vampire, and look, there's a blood moon, and this new vampire monster that comes out of a crypt, a grave. And the reason why I want to talk about this is I'm still the remake, I think, released like sometime this year or last year, I can't remember. And I want to talk about this because I'm still fully convinced, I'm 100% fully convinced that this right here is a pitch to see if people would like a hack and slash 3D Castlevania game, possibly made by Platinum Games. Yes, we are getting a new Castlevania game that is in the that is a 2.5D Metroidvania, so very similar to Symphony of the Night and stuff. But I'm still convinced that the next Castlevania game we see after that is going to be a possible 3D hack and slash game that is either very similar to this or is made by Platinum Games, and it is this. Now, I don't think that we're seeing a segment from the Castlevania game. I very much see this as this was always intended to be the Guy Savage minigame, but it was also there to be as a pitch to see if people would like a Castlevania game made by Platinum Games. Now, of course, I have no truth here. I have no insider information about this, and basically, I'm more just talking as a fan who just wants to see this get made as a Castlevania game. But I'm still fully convinced that this could possibly turn into an actual Castlevania, a new 3D Castlevania game. And what I think the plan would be is we will get a 2.5D game 1 year, and then the next year a 3D game. And I will 100% be fine with that, and I think many fans will be fine with that as well, as long as we are getting the 2.5D games as well. So Konami, please make this into a full game. I beg you. If you don't have plans to do it, then I beg you, get Platinum Games to make this. And I wouldn't mind if we played as this character. I wouldn't mind if we played as this character because he looks like a badass character. Like, just use the concept we see in this trailer. Like, actually just take this concept and throw it into a Castlevania game. Like, I would very much love that. I would very much love that, and I very much love it. I love the combat style. It looks very fun. And all I'm saying is, for God's sakes, give me a 3D hack and slash Castlevania game. That is a Castlevania game of my dreams. That is more like a Platinum's game, like hack and slash, or Devil May Cry hack and slash, than it is like a God of War hack and slash, which I love Lord of Shadow. I know a lot of people don't, but I love Lord of Shadow, and I think it's a fun hack and slash game. But give me more Devil May Cry than God of War, which Lords of Shadow is very God of War inspired. So yeah, that'd be cool. I want to talk about this. This is very old news, but I just wanted to bring it up because I rewatched this video because I posted a comment saying I'm still hoping this is a tease for a future Castlevania game by Platinum Games. I would love that so much. I'm very excited for the new Castlevania releasing soon, but I wouldn't mind them going back and forth from 2D/2.5 to 3D hack and slash games. And especially one made by Platinum Games, because again, this minigame was made by Platinum Games, even though the full game isn't. The full Metal Gear Solid Delta remake isn't. But come on. I know they're working on The Last Ronin, the TMNT game, which I'm excited for. It's gonna be cool. I love The Last Ronin is one of my favorite TMNT graphic novels. Anyways, it's movie time. I'm doing this to help me in editing, so I did that. It's movie time. We're here to finally review Spider-Man. Spider-Man Brand New Day. I watched this movie with my friends today. Actually, today's now the 2nd. I did watch it on the 1st. I watched it with my friends, and I had a great time with this movie. This is actually a really good movie. If you did not like the last 3 Spider-Man movies, because it didn't really feel like a Spider-Man movie, it felt more like, let's say, Iron Man Jr. Which, again, I love the last 3 Spider-Man movies. I do. I thought they were fun movies. I thought they were fun little action movies. But even I can see that they're not Spider-Man movies. They never felt like Spider-Man. Spider-Man never felt like Spider-Man. Gut news for you, Spider-Man Brand New Day. Spider-Man feels like Spider-Man. This feels like a Spider-Man movie. We finally got an MCU Spider-Man movie, and this was absolutely incredible. I loved it. Now, the story of this movie is there's some kind of new force going around. No one really knows. It's this person who has the ability to control the minds of people, and control the minds of anyone. They basically possess the person. It acts more of a possession than a mind control. They fully possess a person to do their bidding and stuff, and we're trying to figure out why. Why are we doing this? Well, Peter's trying to live his normal life, and he's upset that his friends can no longer remember him. If you remember in Spider-Man No Way Home, he made a wish with Doctor Strange, a spell, to have everyone forget who Spider-Man is, who Peter Parker is. And that spell worked, and his friends no longer remember him, and he's very upset by this. He's very sad. He's very like, I'm just sad by this. I'm just kind of like, he's very sad. He's just a sad little boy. He's a sad, sad boy. And something happens that makes him kind of is traumatic to him in a way, and he finds out he has this new mutation that gives him more strength, that has him have organic web shooters, that lets him have good hearing, and I don't want to say anything. I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end, but very much he's trying to deal with this new mutation of his. And he's trying to figure out who this mysterious person who's able to mind control people is. Who is this person? What do they want? What are they trying to do? Why are they here? And it's a very interesting movie. And I love this movie. It actually fully feels like a Spider-Man movie. Like, my God, does this finally feel like we're watching Spider-Man and not Iron Man Jr.? Like, this feels like Spider-Man, and I'm fully excited to see what a sequel could lead. Like, I'm excited to see more of this Spider-Man. I know Tom Holland has talked many times how he wants to kind of pass the torch to someone else. But Tom, we just now officially got a version of Spider-Man. Spider-Man is now officially Spider-Man. So could you please at least give us 2 more movies? I would love you to give me 5 more movies of this. I want 5 more movies. But if you give me 2 more movies and then pass the torch, I would be fucking fine. Actually, you know what? 4 more movies. Give me 4 more movies. Actually, give me 3 more movies, because this would be the 4th one. So give me 3 more movies. You know, I changed my mind. Let's go back to 4. Give me 4 more movies, and then you can pass the torch. Because we finally got Spider-Man. We finally got Spider-Man. And he wants to pass the torch. No, Tom. I know he's been wanting to pass the torch since No Way Home. But you're finally Spider-Man in this goddamn movie. You're finally Spider-Man in this series. And you want to pass the torch? Don't do that. Give me at least 3 more movies, and then you can officially pass the torch. You can leave and do whatever you want. But this was a good movie. And the one thing I will say is I love the dynamic between the Punisher and Spider-Man. They very much played on the actual actors' real relationship. If you don't know, the actual actors are best friends in real life. They very much have a friendship with each other in real life. And they very much played with that because they are very like playful in their attitude. They're very joking with each other. They make fun of each other. Which is, I will say, that is like a very small negative I have. Again, it is a very small negative because their relationship overshadows that negative. Because I actually like their relationship. I love their relationship. And it's actually one of the best parts of this movie is the relationship between Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I actually prefer it over the comics in a way. But I do understand if some people wouldn't like it, because it's not accurate to the comics. If you actually read any issues that have Peter Parker and Spider-Man and the Punisher working together, then you would know Peter Parker hates the Punisher because he is a murderous psychopath who just kills in the name of justice, and he does not agree with that lifestyle. He does not agree with murder. He does not agree with people killing in the name of justice. He just does not agree, and especially in the ways the Punisher does it. The Punisher is a psychopath. He is not a hero. He might be an anti-hero, but he's not actually a hero because the ways he kills people is so sadistic that his hero title gets kind of really thrown out the window a lot of times. He is a murderous psychopath. very much. He is very brutal in his violence, very brutal. And Spider-Man is not like that. And the Punisher hates Spider-Man because he's a vigilante, even though he's also a vigilante, but he hates vigilantes, which is so confusing because he's also a vigilante. Does he hate himself? Most likely, yeah. He very much hates himself. um, but like in the comics, he very much hates Spider-Man to the point to where he used Spider-Man as a shield. In a way where he holds Spider-Man. There's an issue in the comic where he holds Spider-Man, and he had Spider-Man's like passed out body to shoot other enemies while he used him as a shield. And very much he does not like Spider-Man, and Spider-Man does not like the Punisher. In this movie, however, their relationship is very like playful in a way. Yeah, they have attitude with each other, but they're very jokey with each other, and very much they understand each other and are very much friends. And they're very much playing off of the actors' real relationship with each other, because in real life the actors are friends. I do love the dynamic with Spider-Man and his mutation. He's trying to handle it. He's not really knowing what to do, and he sees it as a curse. He sees it as something bad. And the movie very much is really good on this. Really good about accepting yourself. I do believe it's about like accepting yourself. A lot of people theorized because his eyes went fully black. His eyes went black because his eyes only get black when he's raged. In the trailers, like he shows him getting very rageful, very mad, and he would very much brutally attack people, and people thought this was Marvel's way of introducing the symbiote without actually having the symbiote costume. A lot of people theorized that this was going to be the symbiote. And is it? No. This is literally just a mutation. And it gets really resolved at the end. And he doesn't really do it out of anger, it doesn't seem like. Yeah, there are moments where he gets angry, but that's because the villains very much pissed him off, and the mutation happens to come out. And that's because he doesn't know how to control it at the moment. But no, this is not a replacement for the symbiote. And I do love the relationship between Peter Parker and MJ and Ned. They don't know who he is, but I do like the little relationship and stuff. Like I think it could be the start of something interesting for them to play on, and I'm excited to see more about this because I did like it. I very much did like their relationship. This movie was really good. Like for this might be my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man movie. This might be my favorite MCU Spider-Man movie. Is it my favorite Spider-Man movie? No. Spider-Man 2, baby. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 will always be my favorite Spider-Man movie. But this is very much coming close because it's really, really good. So let's get into spoilers. Spoilers. So if you are watching this, if you're watching the video footage, I am going to, when spoilers are over, you can either mute this or skip to a certain part, and basically they know spoilers are over. I will probably do a the webcam will be zoomed up, and I'll go spoilers over with hand movement like that. I could do time codes, but I don't really feel like doing that. So if you want to skip, then skip, or you can just leave the podcast. But I do have a review for Donkey Kong Bonanza, so stay tuned for that 100%. But now, spoiler time. The biggest thing that got spoiled to me, because it did get spoiled, I was going through YouTube, and a interview clip popped up. It was this interview clip from this an actor that is in this movie, and I think he's someone that plays a small role. Like he's not Uh, he's not fully in the movie, I don't think, but he does play a small role, I do think. In some way, I believe. I don't know who the actor was, but um, he was on the I think the red carpet premiere or whatever. And a interviewer asked him, "Hey, what was your favorite Spider-Man character in this movie?" Without revealing anything spoilerish or something like that. And he says, "My favorite character is Jean." And people were speculating who I don't remember her name, the actress who's in who plays Max in Stranger Things, because she's been talked about how she's in this movie, and we never once see her in the trailers, but she has been in the press tour talking about this movie, doing interviews, and she still is very secretive of who she plays in the movie. She very much never answers the question. She never very much hints at it. She's always been secretive of who she plays. And people speculated that she was a Punisher sidekick. She played Black Cat, or she was Jean Grey from the X-Men. And that video, 100% spoiler, because when he said Jean, he didn't say Jean Grey, but he said Jean. And everyone realized who he was talking about. So that was spoiled to me, but I didn't know how much of a role she was going to play. Like, was it just a cameo? What was her role? I didn't know that. Found out Jean's the villain of this, kinda. She's the villain of this movie, kinda. Basically, she's trying to go after Damage Control, this organization that fixes, that stops like villains and uses their tech and stuff to help make a world better. And it turns out she's going after them, and we don't know why. The whole movie, we're like, we don't know why. She mentions like VMAX, like what is VMAX, and that the head of Damage Control, he doesn't know what they're talking about. He doesn't know. He's like, I don't know. But Spider-Man helps. Spider-Man helps him because as what he sees, she is very much a terrorist person. She's being a terrorist. She's attacking this Damage Control government organization, and he sees her as kind of like a terrorist, as a villain. She has harmed people in what look like in some form of a way, and she has controlled people like the Scorpion to, like, she has possessed people like the Scorpion to harm people. She's even possessed random civilians to harm others, and she very much had intentions to even hurt MJ, and Spider-Man had to go and save MJ. And eventually, MJ finds out the truth about the wish erasing her memory. And I like the dynamic with her and Peter because she doesn't remember anything. She doesn't remember anything at all. But you can tell she still wants, like, she might not admit it, but she probably still wants a relationship with Peter because I think she probably realizes there's something missing in her life, but she doesn't know what. And the little scene between Spider-Man, because he's still in the costume, and Ned building Legos and being geeks and being friends again, was a very nice scene. I really liked that. Anyways, we go back to Jean Grey. She's going after Damage Control, and we don't know why. And she's talking about VMAX. We finally figure out why. Turns out Damage Control is the actual villain in the movie. They kidnapped her sister Sarah Gray, and experimented on her. And the reason why her sister sent out a large enough signal to Jean that said something about VMAX. What is VMAX? VMAX. What is it? Turns out she was in the room. Jean. They captured Jean. Well, Spider-Man captured Jean. They have the ability to. Spider-Man builds a device that removes her mutation. So, because he's afraid about his own mutation, and he was afraid about it taking over, killing people, and he decides to make a device that slows down that mutation, that removes that mutation, and only picks the parts that he actually wants. And because he built that device, he decided to build a device for Jean Grey, to completely remove her mutation. And she like she's in the they captured Jean Grey and they put her in the same room where they tortured and experimented on her sister. And she looks up and there's a vent system. Now, they never really confirm if she's dead or not. They kind of hint it. They never say she's dead. So Jean Grey looks up and she looks at the vent, and she sees VMAX, a sticker called VMAX, a removed sticker, a sticker that like the full name is like Mentor Max or whatever. I don't know. And the only thing showing was the V and the Max of the sticker. And she realizes this is the room where her sister was killed. So she goes completely mad, and she becomes so powerful. She's able to freeze time, and she's able to control more than one person, possess more than one person, and possess people in a larger field of range. And she attacks Peter Parker, and eventually Peter finally accepts his mutation. And this is where he fully becomes Spider-Man. He has now spider sense, super strength. He can very much not really do things that he couldn't do before. He is now fully, and I mean fully, Spider-Man at the end of this movie. And he also has organic webs, just like Peter 2, which I think he should have been called Peter 1, but what do I care? Tobey's Peter, by the way. Peter 2 is Tobey's Peter. And this was so cool. This fight sequence, him accepting who he really is, and him like talking to Jean, and she's able to like no longer she's able to like just no longer have this rageful murderous thing because Peter talks to her, gets to her. And it's really a beautiful scene. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. My favorite scene is also when he accepts the mutation as well. The scene where he talks to Jean Grey, was really good, and I really love that scene. There's more than just talking. Like, she enters Peter's head, and Peter has a memory where Aunt May, there's a motorcycle going on in the background. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a motorcycle. What the fuck? What the fuck, guys? I'm trying to do a podcast here. There's a scene where she gets inside Peter's head, and he has a flashback to when Aunt May talks to him about people are probably going to think you're a freak and try to kill you, but just know you are loved. You are awesome. You are amazing. You are a good person, and you can do great things. And this really resonates with Jean, and then Peter has a conversation with her. It's a very beautiful scene. It's one of my favorites of the movie. I almost got teary-eyed just talking about it. But I really love that scene. And there's a scene where we have Hulk. We have Hulk in this movie, and we don't just have Bruce Hulk, where he's Bruce Banner, but with the body of Hulk. No, there's a part where Jean fully takes control of the Hulk, and he's as Bruce Banner. He is Bruce Banner, Hulk, where he's talking to Peter and stuff. And I was like, did the advertisements lie to us? Because you see this final trailer, there's a section in the trailer where we see Peter fighting the Hulk. Where is it? Here it is. We see the scene where Peter's fighting the Hulk and stuff, and it's the Hulk. It's the Hulk I love, the one that doesn't have the mind of Bruce, but instead it's the Hulk, the angry monster. And before then, Jean has control of just normal Bruce Hulk, where it's Hulk but with the mind of Bruce, and he's talking to Peter and stuff, and then Peter fights him, and he's able to have him snap out of Jean's possession, and then Bruce is back to normal. He's back to his normal self, but he's like, my head hurts, you gotta move away. I think she broke something. She broke something. He's like, are you okay? What's wrong? What do you mean she broke something? like is she inside? Like, no, it's not her in my mind. It's the other guy. And it's basically confirming that he's no longer, like, every time he does turn into the monster now, into the Hulk, he no longer has control over it anymore. Whatever she did, it reverted it back to how it was before. And we now got Hulk, the real Hulk, back on the screen. And this has always been my favorite Hulk. I never really liked Bruce Hulk, which is an actual storyline that happens in the comics. I never liked those comics because they were very, like, jokey, slice of life comics. They weren't actually action comics or anything. Those are the only comics I actually owned. I didn't say I didn't hate them. I did enjoy them. But personally, my favorite Hulk stories have always been the one where it's Hulk, it's Bruce trying to control the Hulk in some way, but he's always failing because the Hulk is just an uncontrollable monster. And the fact that the Hulk is back here again is so awesome. This movie is amazing. I do love this movie, and I do think it is my favorite Spider-Man movie in the MCU. It's not my favorite Spider-Man movie. It is my favorite MCU Spider-Man movie, and I do think this was a really good movie. And if you still want to go see it, but you didn't like the other Spider-Man movies, I definitely recommend you go see this because this is a really good movie. I definitely recommend seeing it because I really did enjoy this movie. I know I spoiled it, but I'll probably say that now. Zoom the camera, and I'm gonna go. Spoilers over. Spoilers over. I definitely recommend you go seeing Spider-Man: A Brand New Day. It's a really good movie, and I had fun. Go see it. Go see it. Go see it. I should definitely wait. So before we end the podcast, let me talk about one more thing. And I'm probably going to make this a short segment. But I finally beat the story of DK Bananza. And I'm just going to play some gameplay. This is a very fun 3D platformer. It is very much a 3D platformer. And I will say, the first thing I'm going to say, as you can see with the cutscene that's playing right now, this is very much more cinematic in its cutscenes than previous Nintendo games. I do truly believe we are in an era of Nintendo that is now more cinematic than it was before. And I think that has everything to do with them more going into the movie business, doing movies and stuff, making movie adaptations. I do very much think, because they're making more movies, we are now going to see a lot more games that have a more cinematic flair with their cutscenes. The new Star Fox games is a very #1 example. This one is also, because the cutscenes very much remind me of like a Pixar animation movie. But I also have to say, no, it is not. Just because I say it's cinematic does not mean it's a game that's similar to like The Last of Us or a Naughty Dog game. This is still very much a game. This is still very much a game. It's very gamey. It's got arcade gamey content. It is still very much a 3D platformer that just has more cinematic cutscene style that very much are in line with like a animated movie in a way. And I love the story of this. Actually, the story is very interesting, and it's what makes you want to continue going forward with the game personally. But the gameplay also very much helps because the game is very fun. It's very different than a Mario game because instead of like you're doing little mini games here and there, jumping and stuff, which you can do in this game. There is a section in the game where you can do little challenges, mini game challenges and stuff, and all that. But there's also sections in the game where you can just destroy the entire terrain and find different like gold nuggets, or you can find bananas. You can find many different things, and of course we are seeing now there's an upgrade system, and throughout the entire game you get newer upgrades here and there, but you also very much get new ability. There's one ability that is a giant gorilla. You're an even bigger gorilla than you were before. There's another where you are a zebra. Then you get a ostrich, a snake, and then you get a elephant. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the only like power up animal design that really looks right to me is the gorilla design. Everything else, the ostrich looks strange to me. They look cursed. They look ugly. I didn't like the design of the other designs, and I especially do not like the snake design, because the snake is literally just a snake body, but with the with the chest and the arms of Donkey Kong. It looks strange because it's a snake with arms. Why is it a snake with arms? I do not like the snake upgrade. It's a snake with arms. This gameplay is not mine, as you can clearly tell. This is Gamer's Little Playground. Go give them a subscribe. I did record gameplay from my Twitch channel here and there, but I didn't fully record gameplay. This was played on my own time. This is a fun game. Like, I very much love the platforming puzzles, the thing where this game, if you have like ADHD, you're gonna love this game, because there's so much shit to do, and you can just fuck around the level by just destroying their environment. Like you can just destroy the environment. You can literally dig down and just keep on destroying here and there. Maybe this gameplay won't show it, but it's very addicting. It's very fun, and I love it. I love this very much, and the story is definitely what I continue playing more and more for. The gameplay, even if it wasn't, the gameplay on its own could also do that, but the story was very investing. There is a spoiler, though, on the cover, so no matter what, if you pick up this game, you're going to get spoiled. The rock creature that is on Donkey Kong right now turns out to be Pauline. It's a child version of Pauline. And she doesn't really turn into Pauline until like an hour or 2 hours in the game. It depends on how long you play it. If you quickly go to the section where she becomes Pauline, then it'd probably be like a good few minutes. But if you're playing all the mini games beforehand and exploring the environment, it'll probably be around an hour or 2 hours before you eventually see her as Pauline. And I don't know why they spoiled that. It would have been a cool reveal if they didn't spoil it, and I'm gonna admit they probably should have just had her as the rock creature on the advertisements on the box. And you're probably like, well, probably not the trailers, because the trailers would have to show her eventually as Pauline. You know, game trailers, I don't know why Nintendo doesn't do this, but Naughty Dog has edited their game trailers to have a lot of to manipulate the trailer to not reveal any spoilers and stuff. Marvel does it all the time, so why not Nintendo? Nintendo doesn't really seem to care about spoilers. They never really seem to care about them. And honestly, Pauline is not the biggest spoiler in this game. There's actually an even bigger spoiler that happens at the end. So Pauline is like the smallest spoiler, and it's like 2 hours in. It's not that big of a deal of a spoiler, but it probably would have been a bigger reveal if they didn't reveal who the rock creature was in the beginning. But the dynamic between Donkey Kong and Pauline is very cute. I really loved it. It was a very cute dynamic. You know, just so funny. We have seen in so many games, like Donkey Kong is now officially a part of the Dad video game, John. We had video games like The Last of Us, God of War, Donkey Kong Bananza, and look at another game I got on the Switch too, Pragmata. And you know what the funny thing about this is? Pragmata and Donkey Kong Country, besides being a father figure with a little girl, there's another similarity they have. The little girl in Pragmata is also on the main character's back. It's also on the player character's back. And Pauline, throughout the entire game, is always on DK's back, holding on. And this is so strange that this has got two similarities. I bought these are the games I bought day one with my Switch 2. And when I say day one, like a few weeks ago, these are the games I bought with my Switch 2, and these are the other two games, which is Mouse PI for Hire and Metroid Prime 4. But I find it funny that the other two games I get for the Switch 2 is two games that have very much of weird similarity with each other. So again, Donkey Kong is now included into the um the dad genre of gaming. Yeah, Donkey Kong is it's a dad in gaming. And again, I'll show you what the snake looks like. I'm gonna try to find the snake power up, and I'll show you what the snake looks like because I do not like the snake upgrade. I'm trying to find it. I very much do not like it. I think it looks so strange. So, snake, and here he goes. Look at that. That looks so cursed. I do not like the snake upgrade. I don't like any of the designs of the other animals. They look so ugly to me. The only design I like is the gorilla. But all the other ones just look so strange and ugly. I just don't like it. But I highly recommend this game. It's very fun. Now, I'm going to do spoilers for this. And you could probably leave now because the podcast is almost over. But I will get into spoilers about this. And this was something that was spoiled to me before I even played it. I sadly got it spoiled on Blue Sky. I was scrolling through Blue Sky, and I saw a fan art of the game. Now, throughout the entire game, you're trying to stop this one monkey villain. And I'll try to find him as well. Where is he? There he is. Throughout this entire game, you're trying to find this monkey villain who's trying to get to the Bananium root. It's the root at the center of the planet. And if you get to it, you can make a wish. Whatever wish you desire. And I'm guessing his wish is for money or ultimate power or something. And it's just evil monkey who's a businessman. He's very business, and he owns a corporation, and he's trying to get that root for himself. And he wants Pauline to sing for him, so it could make getting the roots very easy. And in this section, we see what we think is the root. It's like this round thing, and we think it's the root. We think we're at the center of the planet. It's not. You want to know who it is? I'll show you who it is. Turns out that is the belly of K. Rool. King K. Rool. Yes. Yes. After so many years, King K. Rool is finally back. And you're probably wondering, what do you mean after so many years? If you know nothing, Rare, the studio name Rare, who you might now know him for developing the game, Sea of Thieves. But they used to develop, back in the N64 era, 3D platformers like Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and Donkey Kong 64. Now, way before that, they developed the Donkey Kong Country series on the Super Nintendo. And that series introduced the King K. Rool and his Kremling crews. And because it came from Rare technically owned the character design of King K. Rool and the Kremlings, and Nintendo was never ever going to be able to use these character designs again. Well, since Nintendo and Microsoft have been very friendly, and Microsoft owns Rare, I'm guessing they made a deal because King K. Rool is finally back home with Nintendo, and he is now in a brand new game that plays like, I will say, this fits perfectly that he's in this game, Donkey Kong Country, because this feels like an old style Rare 3D platformer. Again, that's the name of the studio, Rare. This feels like a game that was made by Rare. And it's so good to see K. Rool again. And throughout the entire game, there was these creatures that have like I'll try to show you what they look like. Throughout the game, we were fighting these creatures with giant stone on them. They look like lizards. And they had giant stone, like they had like faces, masks made of stone, or whatever different type of environment. of the environment and stuff, and we would fight them. And you can see there they are, right there. We would fight them throughout the entire game. Can you please go and fight one? Gamer's little playground. Come on, fight one. Throughout the entire game, after you beat these guys, they would reveal a golden lizard skeleton. Again, that's all they would. They would just be like a skeleton. They never were like any other creature. They were just a skeleton. And when we finally meet King K. Rool, after you destroy one, after you destroy these creatures, it turns out for the entire game, you were fighting the skeletons of the Kremlings. And that was a big reveal. I never didn't know about that. And when I saw that, I was like, holy shit. And the fact that he's not doing that, here we go. See, usually before this section, you would fight them and there'd be a skeleton, a lizard skeleton. Now you fight them and it's revealed they are Kremlings. They are 100% Kremlings and these masks and stuff. And it's not just them, it's the other Kremling animals and stuff. And I love that reveal. This was so cool because we've been wanting Kremlings to come back to a Donkey Kong game for so long, but because of the whole rights issue with Rare and Nintendo, no one ever thought we would see them return. And now they are officially back in a game, and it's awesome. And I am a little upset that it was spoiled to me, but I will say the reveal that the enemies you've been fighting this entire time were skeletons of Kremling crew was a fucking amazing surprise. And I love this game. I will say during the ending section, like in the final act, it felt like the game ended 50 times before it actually ended. Like there was always so many like what felt like fake endings. You remember in Lord of the Rings Return of the King, the movie would fade to black and you would think, oh, it's over, and then it would return. You'd be like, oh no, it's not over. Oh, that's what it felt like when playing the final act of this game, because their time was like, okay, we're in the final world, we're in the final level, we're in the final world, and then the game continued to keep on going. And there was even like a fake credit sequence after you defeat King K. Rool, and it turns out that was a fake credit sequence, and the game continued to play. And then I finally beat the story. I literally did beat the story of the game. And the game wasn't even over after that. There's a 3 months later section, which is just to be like a place that be like a little transition into doing the new game challenges that you can do with the king animal. In each world, there is, every time you get a new power up, like the gorilla we were playing as, or the snake, we would get them from the king of that area, which was either be a king gorilla, would either be a king elephant, a king snake, or whatever. Well, after you beat the game, after you beat the main story, you get a 3 months later, and you can go back and finish what you didn't do already, and you can also do extra challenges that the kings give you. And they're either kings or emperors or whatever. I have not fully beat this game. I will 100 admit I have not fully beat this game because the challenges are really hard. But I did beat the main story, and I love this game. This is a good game. If you have not played this, I recommend playing this because I really love this game. I really love this game. It is a good game. It is a good game. Highly recommend Donkey Kong Bananza, and also go subscribe to Gamer's Little Playground, since I used a lot of his footage in this. So do go subscribe to him. Yeah, this will do it for another episode of Single Player Report Podcast. If you guys like this video, give it a like. I'll comment down below what you thought about everything. Have you seen Spider-Man Brand New Day? If you did, what were your thoughts? Are you wanting to watch it now that I've talked about it? And have you played Donkey Kong Bonanza? Tell me your thoughts on that. And also, if you would like, tell me your thoughts on the news stories that I talked about today. And yeah, Subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And I post podcast episodes. I also post game playthroughs that I did live on Twitch, which you can go follow me live, which it is twitch.tv/JarveyRocks. That is twitch.tv/JarveyRocks. That is twitch.tv/JarveyRocks. I very much would appreciate it. It's linked in the description. Again, twitch.tv/JarveyRocks. Go give me a follow. I play a lot of games. I mostly play horror, but I do play other genres and other styles of games. Either that be a arcadey action game, third-person shooter, first-person shooter, or be a classic retro game, either 2D platformer or 3D platformer, or a top-down game, or a point-and-click adventure game. It doesn't matter what type of game. I will play it on my Twitch if I want to. So do give me a follow. I would really appreciate it. And subscribe to this channel, especially if you love this podcast. Give it a subscribe, and liking and commenting really does help. My algorithm and this video game reached out to anyone else, so I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.